Bringing you the latest news from here at home and across the world. This is Primetime News, live on News First. A very good evening. I'm Mahina Bongzo. My co-anchor this evening, Shine Jurampati, will be joining us during the bulletin from the News First newsroom with an update and a comprehensive report on the situation in Syria. Let's start off your bulletin with a look at the headlines.
President addresses the Commonwealth Business Forum. Sri Lanka contributes $1.5 million in capital to the Commonwealth Small States Trade Finance Facility. SLFP Secretary responds to Dilan Pereira's accusations. Will Ravi Karunanayake get another ministerial post? Ranjan Ramanayake issues latest statement on the bond issue. World's biggest airplane lands in Mathula.
And starting off with news from London, President Maithripala Sirisena addressed the CHOGM Heads of Government Roundtable meeting with senior business leaders. The President stressed on the importance of good business practices and called on everyone present at the event to join hands to ensure best business practices.
Good business practices would be a catalyst for peace and good governance. It should reflect social responsibilities and uphold rule of law with zero tolerance of corruption. I call upon everyone present here to join hands with the Commonwealth countries as well as others to bring prosperity with best business practices that will promote social responsibility and ensure social inclusiveness. Real alignment of business, society and government will depend on these stakeholders aiming to achieve cohesive social responsibility for the best satisfaction of the people. I wish everyone here will commit, plan and program to reach that real alignment.
The Commonwealth Business Forum panel included renowned Australian philanthropist Andrew Forrest. Yesterday, an innovative way for small states to obtain easier access to international trade finance was launched at CHOGM. India, Sri Lanka, Mauritius and Malta have provided $5 million of capital to the scheme called the Commonwealth Small States Trade Finance Facility. The official Twitter account of Finance Minister Mangala Samaravira said that Sri Lanka's contribution to the facility was $1.5 million. Speaking at the roundtable event, the Finance Minister said Sri Lanka is committed to preventing financial crime. Finance Minister Mangala Samaravira has said Sri Lanka has long identified the risk of financial crime as a priority area. Given the country's history in battling a sophisticated terror organization, addressing terrorist financing has long been on the agenda. Speaking further, Minister Samaravira has said the challenge for countries like Sri Lanka is how to ensure continued progress of financial inclusion in this context. He has further said at a more micro level, one of the major objectives of our government embodied in the 2018 budget themed Enterprise Sri Lanka is to empower entrepreneurs by providing access to finance. Former Microsoft CEO Bill Gates, now focusing on his Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, spoke of the importance of collaboration and sharing during his keynote address at a joint plenary session at Commonwealth Summit. While Gates praised Commonwealth collaboration, he urged private enterprises to invest more in developing areas of the world. Bill Gates spoke about the health sector in Sri Lanka as well.
Collectively, Commonwealth nations are experts in far more than just polio eradication. Nobody in the world does better in education than Singapore. Bangladesh and Sri Lanka have built very high-quality primary health care systems staffed primarily by women health workers, a model that other countries are following. The island states of the Caribbean, the Pacific, and the Indian Ocean have helped the world take climate change seriously and commit to substantive action. Meanwhile, Australia, Canada, India, and the United Kingdom have pledged to double their energy innovation budgets So we can meet the challenge of climate change without denying the poorest access to the energy and electricity that they deserve.
President Maithripala Sirisena gave the keynote speech at the Commonwealth Business Forum today at 11 a.m. London time. The President focused on the sustainable development goals to be achieved by 2030 and the practical ways to enhance trade. The 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting will be officially started tomorrow at 10 a.m. London time. Stay tuned with News First. We'll keep you updated. I'm Malshani Attanaika reporting for News First from London.
The United States of America has decided to reauthorize the U.S. Generalized System of Preference, or GSP, to Sri Lanka with effect from April 22nd.
U.S. President Donald Trump recently reauthorized the U.S. GSP Plus facility for 120 beneficiary countries when he signed the U.S. Omnibus Spending Bill on the 23rd of March. Over 5,000 products from 120 developing nations will be subjected to the Generalized System of Preference. 70 to 75% of garments, which is Sri Lanka's key export product, is exported to the United States of America.
Moving back to local news, General Secretary of the SLFP, Minister Duminda Senaikat, responded to a statement made by former Minister Dilan Pereira.
Lanka Nidas Pakshe Mahalekambariya මම හිතන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂ නියෝජනය මහා කේලම්බරයා ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ සන්ධානයේ ඉන්නවා අගමැතිතුමාට ගතු කියන මහා කේලම්බුරු දෙදෙනෙක් ලේකම්බුරු දෙදෙනෙක් නැහැ.
I do not wish to comment on the statement made by Dilan Pereira. The people do not accept most of the things said by Dilan Pereira. As the two General Secretaries, we have a certain degree of responsibility. We are the General Secretaries of the party. There is a chairman for the SLFP and the decisions are taken by the chairman and another group. The General Secretary announces those decisions. At one occasion, he used a bottle of poison as a prop. The people are aware what he says. I will not respond to statements made by him.
කියන කාරණා පිළිබඳව කොච්චර වටිනාකමක් තියෙනවද නැද්ද කියන කාරණාව දන්නවා. මම ඒකට උත්තර දෙන්න.
It's time now for a short commercial break. More news on the other side.
Hello, welcome back to the news. Now, convening a media briefing today, UNP parliamentarian Chaminda Vijayasiri hit out at the 16 Sri Lanka Freedom Party members who defected from the government. That gang of 16 holds talks with President Maithripala Sirisena during the day and meets with former President Mahinda Rajapaksa at night. I think there is another group in addition to this group of ministers who have been the main cause for the destruction of this government over the past 3 years. The President and Prime Minister have indicated that a new cabinet would be appointed. If there are more who are prepared to stab this good governance government and the United National Party in the back, we strongly urge them to consider the repercussions. Ministers like Dilan Pereira joined this good governance government to help. But instead, they only covered their thefts. There are many senior backbench MPs in the United National Party who are wise and intelligent. I propose then to appoint these people to ministerial positions rather than appointing any one of us. I think the President and Prime Minister should consider this. During the process of defeating the no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, the backbench MPs gracefully accepted the proposals that were made. But after defeating the motion, if he, by any chance, decides to completely forget what was agreed and goes on with his usual ways, I think I, as a backbench MP, may have to think about myself, our party and its members and take a political decision. I believe that everyone in the committee aren't yes-men. It wasn't a bunch of yes-men who were elected. But if they choose to take on that path of being yes-men, that would also be the end of their political journey.
දැන් අපි දැක්ක දැන් නායකත්වයට දෙපිරිසක් අතර සටනක් දැක්කා. රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා මේ නායකත්වයෙන් ඉවත් වුණොත් ඒ සඳහා ඉන්න ද්වන්ද සටනක් තියෙනවා. නායකයෙක් තෝරගන්න.
A leader should be selected with a majority consent. So I think it should be pushed to that point. We have requested that it be up to the parliamentary group to select their leader. The consent of the parliamentary group and the people have decided who they want as the leader. Even you know it. We will not mention names. I believe at one point that Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe would select the leader who is accepted and known to the entire country and tell that person to step out and go around the country. So I'm sure the Prime Minister would use his respect and wisdom to create the program for this leader in the future.
UNP parliamentarian Ravi Karnanayake, speaking to reporters today, commented on the coalition government.
Why shouldn't he? We appointed this government. Before you raise questions on such matters, you must ask yourself why there was an issue. We need to build this country. We did not secure power to joke around, but the situation alone has become a joke. Does it mean the green palm symbol has become blue? We were flexible to accommodate the defeated people who were making noise back then. However, it reached a breaking point. That came out in the form of the motion of no confidence. Good governance entered a destructive path. The issues of the opposition were undermined. They were benefited in various platforms, including in courts. The country has never benefited. This is not what we call good governance.
Also convening a media briefing today, the Democratic Left Front spoke about abolishing the executive presidency.
It is no doubt that the United National Party and Ranil Wickremesinghe want to support the JVP's proposal to abolish powers of the presidency. But the way we see it, the possibilities of Ranil Wickremesinghe going in for a single-party government is the biggest danger. Even if we agree that the presidential system should be changed, we see it as a huge danger for this country if the powers of the president are abolished under this composition. We can, however, consider bringing in a proposal to end the powers of the presidency after the term of this president is over. It has become our responsibility to end Ranil Wickremesinghe's rule of government and achieve a massive anti-Ranil victory in 2020. So the way we see it, if we are to defeat Ranil Wickremesinghe's grip on power, those in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party who are defecting from the government should join hands with us. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party, led by the President, are set to make crucial decisions in the coming days. We must support that and give the strength that is needed. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party cannot make a decision otherwise.
Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake convened a media briefing today.
The appointment made by the Prime Minister to the post of Governor of the Central Bank after the 8th of January 2015 was wrong. Arjuna Mahendran, his son-in-law Arjuna Aloysius, together with Kasun Palisena, has committed this fraud not once but multiple times. This was revealed at the COPE committee. I cannot say that was no mistake, and I am not saying that all the money went into the pocket of the Prime Minister. These 16 individuals are thieves. How can they blame Ranil Wickremesinghe? There are ethanol addicts, drug addicts, murderers and cattle smugglers among these 16 individuals. These 16 people are attempting to hurl stones at the Prime Minister. I am not saying the Prime Minister is a saint.
What is Ranjan trying to say? Out of that money, Prime Minister took half or quarter. What is he trying to say? That means that he is accepting that fraud has taken place, and also he is also accepting that the Prime Minister did not take the full amount. It can be 50 or 25%. I mean, this is a huge issue for a state deputy minister to come and say at a function where the main chairman of the UNP is there, and he says that this has happened like this. So what we have been right throughout telling, Malik Samaravikrama is a big joke, because we know who this character is. Now, he is only interested in giving all facilities to Lokovitarna, who is one of his directors and partners and chairman in his companies, and to leave all the people away from this. So, can a country prosper having people like this, is my question.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe engaged in a tour to Kandy today.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe called on the Chief Prelate of the Malwatu chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thera. The Prime Minister then obtained the blessings of the sacred tooth relic. Prime Minister called on the Chief Prelate of the Askiri chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Varakagura Sri Jnana Ratana Thera, and obtained blessings. We hope to strengthen the peace and reconciliation process as the first step. We must work towards that. We have to move forward without the unfortunate incidents we had to face in the last year. This is the time we can reap the benefits of several development projects the government has carried out. There are more to be completed. We are discussing these. We are going to commence new projects as well. We hope to launch a new program after the President returns. Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla responded to questions that were raised.
ශ්‍රී ලංකන් දස් පක්ෂයේ බහුතරයක් විපක්ෂයේ අසුන් ගන්නට නියමිත බව සඳහන් වෙනවා. ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී රජය පවත්වාගෙන යාමට කොයි ආකාරයකට කටයුතු කරන්න වෙන්නේ මොකක්ද ඒක?
We will look at it on the day. Before the no confidence motion, they said that they had the numbers. If there is a situation like that, we will face it.
එහෙම තත්ත්වයක් આવත් අපි ඒකට මුහුණ දෙන්න සූදානම්. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කල් දාන්න මේ විදිහට කටයුතු සිද්ධ වුණේ කියලා ඔබතුමා නෑ මේක පාර්ලිමේන්තුව.
This is a parliamentary tradition. The parliament was convened regularly for a long period. This was a holiday for the staff and the MPs. There are provisions in the constitution to do this.
පවත්වාගෙන ගිහිල්ලා සේවය කරන ඇයට නිවාඩුවක් മന്ത്രിවරුන්ට නිවාඩුවක්.
Everyone is in favor of it being carried out using the old election system.
Professor Rohan Samarajiva, the newly appointed chairman of the Information Communication Technology Agency or ICTA, says there is a need for a national policy on information communication technology in the country.
The ICTA came under the spotlight on several matters including Google loan project and the introduction of a national payment platform. It was against this backdrop that ICTA appointed a chairman and a board of directors.
There is no doubt that we need a national ICT policy. You know, this is a 15-year-old organization. There are many projects that are going on that many people don't actually know about. So we will be giving primacy to getting our projects going and giving benefits that people can touch and feel and see in their everyday lives from all the ongoing projects. But parallel with that, we will be initiating the process of working on a national ICT policy.
Speaking further, Professor Samarajiva commented on the Google loan project.
The Google loan project, there has been much talk about it. In my view, we are actually at this point giving primacy to some of the ongoing eager projects that had for various reasons got stalled a little. I hope to work with the TRC and all the relevant authorities and of course with the mobile companies to make sure that everybody is on the same page and that we work together to ensure in the end a particular technology is not what it matters. In the end, it's that our people have good broadband connectivity at low cost and of adequate quality.
Let's now take a look at the day's illustrated news brought to you by cartoonist Asankala Dwaheti.
The Ceylon Electricity Board Engineers Union has threatened it will resort to trade union action if their demands on the long-term power generation plan is not met. They claim authorities are delaying the implementation of their proposals.
Based on the policies of the government, the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy has drafted plans to generate electricity from renewable energy to meet the country's electricity demand by 2030. Accordingly, the use of coal for power generation is to be dropped from 43% to 1% by 2030. However, in the long-term generation plan of the Ceylon Electricity Board, it has been proposed to move towards coal power plants to generate electricity for the coming years. The main issue we face is each year the electricity demand increases by 200 megawatts. Therefore, we will have to construct a 200 megawatt power plant every year. However, those power plants need to be profitable. However, the Norotchole plant came in 2014 and after it was included into the national grid, we did not see the construction of a low-cost power plant. Land was allocated and project offices were maintained for 7 to 8 years in Sampur, and when the tenders were to be called, that power plant was stopped. The CEB recorded profits following the Norotchole power plant in 2014. However, in 2017, the CEB incurred losses to the tune of 45 billion rupees. The Public Utilities Commission needs to be accountable for this situation. In May last year, the power generation plan from 2018 to 2037 was produced and it has not been approved to date. They have cast aside our plan and are misleading the country. The long-term generation plan was approved on the 19th of July 2017. It looks at the least cost method for a period of 20 years. Then it will not include any coal power plants. It included LNG power plants and renewable energy plants. If there is a delay in implementing those plans, we will be compelled to purchase electricity for a higher cost in order to supply electricity. We need to consider the energy security as well. The government follows a policy to generate electricity from all available energy sources. The subject minister will submit a cabinet paper to the Cabinet of Ministers next week. The Cabinet of Ministers will thereafter decide the energy generation composition required for the country. Thereafter, the CEB and the PUCSL will be given the opportunity to implement those plans. Then the issue will be solved. The issue between both sides is, should a coal power plant be constructed or a LNG plant be constructed? However, the issue that will arise in 2020 will not be solved by either coal power plants or LNG plants. The energy requirement increased by 5% annually. If new power plants are not constructed by 2020, there will be a serious issue in electricity generation. If that happens, we will have to be in the dark or obtain electricity from power plants that use fuel at a very high cost. Renewable energy needs to be developed immediately, and a solution needs to be sought to prevent the sudden purchase of fuel in 2020. On several occasions, Newsfirst highlighted the negative impact on the environment caused by the Noracholi coal power plant. The power plant was subject to repairs on a number of occasions, and on separate occasions, issues at the plant disrupted the national power supply. During the past 2 years, irregularities had taken place under the supervision of the Ministry Secretary with regard to the coal tender, and the loss is far greater than the loss caused from the bond scam. If these incidents continue, they are operating in a manner to continue with committing theft from this. Private firms have come forward to construct LNG plants at their cost, and the government only has to purchase electricity from them. All those proposals were rejected. This will attribute to the increase of charges from the general public. If this continues, the country will go dark, and that cannot be prevented.
The world's largest aircraft, the Antonov AN-225 Mriya, landed at the Makala airport this morning for refueling. The aircraft arrived in Sri Lanka from Malaysia, where it had made its first commercial flight after undergoing upgrades for over a year.
We will leave it tonight with footage of what is currently the world's longest and heaviest plane, comparable to a 5-story building. Stay with News First. Crosstalk with Peter Lavelle is up next. I am Shaheen Jurampati.
And I'm Mahina Bongzo. Good night.